Hello again, Internet. Jake here with the only thing I ever seem to be on top of releasing. The seasonal rundown of next season's animes. And yes, I swear, I will still release those reviews that are way in the wings. Things are just continuing to be complicated. Let us look now, though, at the upcoming animes for winter 2018, starting in January. We begin the list with, I know some people are excited about this, but I never watched the first season, from Madhouse, Overlord Season 2, based on the light novel. We also have, based on the manga from A1 Pictures, Natsu no Taiza, Imashime no Fukatsu, or the next season of the Sedley Devon Din. No, that's wrong completely. 7 Deadly Sins. Not to be confused with the 7 Mortal Sins, but we'll get to that in a moment. The first non-sequel we have on our list, from Shaft Studios, based on the video game Fate Extra Last Encore. Waking up in a strange virtual world with no recollection of the past, Hakuno finds himself forced to fight for survival in a war he does not understand, for a prize beyond value: the opportunity to have one's wish granted. With only an enigmatic servant by his side, Hakuno Kishinami will have to face both friends and foes in battles to the death. And in order to not only gain possession of a mysterious object known as the Holy Grail, but also to find the answer to the most important question: who am I? I gotta say, as a fan of the Fate franchise enough to suffer through Apocrypha, I'm looking forward to Fate Extra because it's a weird trip. I'm just worried that it may get a bit of a weird overload also being done by Shaft, who are not exactly known for being mainstream or normal. Moving on from Passione Studio, I think I pronounced that right, probably not. Based on the manga Citrus. Oh boy. Fashionable Yuzu imagined the first day at her new school she transferred to after her mother's remarriage a bit differently. She didn't know it would be an ultra-strict and conservative girls' school, so instead of a sweet high school romance, she butts heads with the stern student council president Mei, who turns out to be her new stepsister. And she has to learn that hate and attraction are often not that far apart. Incest! But only by law. Next up, from Tezuka Productions, based on the manga, we have the second season of Dagashi Kashi. Dagashi Kashi? Kashi Dakatashi, Dakati, Takatikadu, Takatikada. Moving right along, we have from Madhouse Studios, based on the manga, Cardcaptor Sakura Cleared Card Hen. Why did I say hen? It's arc. Well, it says hen on the page, and I know that means arc, and I'm thinking too hard about this. 14-year-old Sakura starts junior high school along with her friends, including Sairon, who had just returned to Tomoeda. After having a dream with a mysterious cloaked figure, all of Sakura's cards turn blank and are rendered powerless. Thus, she starts her quest to find out what is wrong. In doing so, Sakura and her allies discover and capture new transparent cards using a new key. You know, I never actually saw all of Cardcaptor Sakura. I don't think I have time to do so before the new season starts. Just thought I'd bring that up. Next on the list, based on the manga, no listed studio, Saiki Kutsuo no signed on to. I don't know what the pitchfork-looking rune is supposed to be. Second season to that show with the psychic who has the little bulbas on the sides of his head. The comedy. But not the Mob Psycho 100 comedy. Nope. You want to interrupt, Mouser? No? Okay. Next, we have from Connect and Silverlink, based on the light novel, Deathmatch Kara Hajimaru Isekai Kyouso Kyoku. Or, if I remember correctly, which is actually just me a cover for opening a new tab so I can find out what the actual translation of that is, because I remember that being something specific and different. I did not buy enough time because my browser is slow. It's taking a long time to load. I think it's something like Death March to the Other World's Rhapsody. Death March to the Parallel World's Rhapsody. Yep. There it is. Took its fine time loading, didn't it? 29-year-old programmer Suzuki Ichiro finds himself transported into a fantasy RPG. Within the game, he's a 15-year-old named Sato. At first, he thinks he's dreaming, but his experiences seem very real due to a powerful ability he possesses with limited uses. He ends up wiping out an army of lizardmen and becomes a high-leveled adventurer. Sato decides to hide his level and plans to live peacefully and meet new people. However, developments in the game's story, such as the return of a demon king, may cause a nuisance to Sato's plan. You know, reading that and how generic the title feels, I'm half hoping that this is a tongue-in-cheek parody of the overpowered programmer ending up in a fantasy game or fantasy game-like setting. But after Knights and Magic and Smartphone, I don't have high hopes that it's a parody. I have assumed that this is going to be played very straight. Oy. Next, we have from A1 Pictures collaborating with Trigger of all people, new original anime, Darling in the Fran XX. I'm sure that's supposed to be pronounced Frank or the like, but it's Fran XX to me. The story is set in the distant future. The land is ruined and humanity established the mobile fort city Plantation. Pilots produced inside Plantation live in... not pronouncing that. Also known as the Birdcage. Then why give it a confusing name like... Children live there knowing nothing of the outside world or the freedom of the sky. Their lives consist of battling to carry out missions. Their enemies are mysterious giant life forms known as Kyoryu, and the children pilot robots called Fran XX to face off against them. For the children, writing the Fran XX provides their existence. A boy named Hiro is called Code 016, and he was once known as a prodigy. However, he has fallen behind and his existence seems unnecessary. Not piloting a Fran XX is the same as ceasing to exist. One day, a mysterious girl known as 02 appears before him, 2 horns growing out of her head. You know, I am going to watch this, and I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt because I love Trigger. But it worries me that after even watching the PVs outside of the cool mech designs, I'm not finding anything of interest in this. And I usually can with Trigger, either with the character designs or the insane plot synopsis. Next up, from Wit Studio, based on the manga, Koi wa Ameagai no Yo ni, or Love is Like After the Rain. Blech. Akira Tachibana is a soft-spoken high school student who used to be a part of the track and field team and club, not team, but due to an injury, she is no longer able to run as fast as she once could. Working part-time at a family restaurant as a recourse, she finds herself inexplicably falling in love with her manager, a divorced 45-year-old man with a young son. Ugh. Despite the age gap, Akira wholeheartedly embraces his mannerisms and kind nature, which is seen as spineless by other employees, and little by little the two begin to understand each other. Although unable to explain why exactly she is attracted to him, Akira believes that a concrete reason, is not needed to truly love someone. On a rainy day, she decides to finally tell her manager about how she feels, but just how will he react? Let's move on. Next up, we have Karakai Jozu no Takaki-san, which I think translates to expert at teasing. This is based on the manga and by Shin-Ei Animation Studios. If you blush, you lose. Living by this principle, the middle schooler Nishikata gets constantly made fun of by his seat neighbor Takagi-san. With his pride shattered to pieces, he vows to turn the tables and get back at her someday. And so, he attempts to tease her day after day, only to find himself victim to Takagi-san's ridicule again sooner than later. Will he be able to make Takagi-san blush from embarrassment even once in the end? And it seems to be a cute little romantic comedy between two middle schoolers, so should hopefully be harmless. Next up, based on the web manga, we have the second season of Gin no Guardian, Silver Guardian, ladies and gentlemen. Oy. Moving right along, I guess. From Dia Media, based on the light novel Beatless. With the introduction of an ultra-advanced AI that surpasses human intelligence, beings that mankind is yet to fully comprehend, made from materials far too advanced for human technology, begin coming into being. So you make an AI that humans can't comprehend, and then it starts making robots from materials that you can't comprehend. You know, I joke that life finds a way, but when you're making robots, they have to be made by someone. Unless you're telling me the AI is the one who's making all of these, birthing out lady robots. Lacia, an HIE equipped with a black coffin-shaped device, is one of these. In boy meets girl fashion, 17-year-old Arato Endo has a fateful encounter with the artificial Lacia. For what purpose were these artificial beings made? Amid questions regarding the coexistence of these artificial beings and humans, a 17-year-old boy makes a decision. And the decision probably boils down to, can you fuck it? Sorry for the sudden burst of language. I think I'm being influenced by the next anime on the list, based on the 4-koma manga from Kamikaze Doga, Popute Pipiku. And if these girls look familiar, that's because they are normally seen swearing like sailors and flipping off the audience. There's no synopsis on the anime plot, and the synopsis on the manga plot is that One's hot-tempered, one's a lot calmer, and they run around swearing like sailors and flipping people off. Next on the list, we have from Dogakobo, based on the card games, Token Rambu Hanamura 2, the second season of Token Rambu Hanamura. Oh, they say sequel. I don't really know the difference between a sequel series and a second season, to be honest. Not completely sure there is one. Next on the list, based on the manga from Geno Studios, Kokoku. Juri Yukawa lives with her neat father and brother, her retired grandfather, her sister, a single mother, and her young nephew. One day, her nephew and brother are kidnapped for ransom. Well, that escalated quickly. Having only 30 minutes to meet the demands of the kidnapper, Juri, who realizes there is not enough time to prepare the money, prepares to head for their rescue by herself with a knife in hand. Damn, girl. When her grandfather uses a mysterious stone passed on in the Yukawa family to stop time. You see, he was traveling in Egypt once, and I'm kidding. In a world where everyone and everything are inert, Juri and her father and grandfather run to rescue the two. But at the kidnappers' hideout, they soon realize they are not the only ones who can move about in the still world. So you're telling me that they don't know how much their opponents can move in the frozen time? I'm sorry, just like I had to make Steven Universe jokes about Hoseki no Kumi, despite the fact that once it came out, it was not Steven Universe-like at all. It was Nirama-like. Also, watch Hoseki. I have to make JoJo references when it's a show about freezing time and moving around in said frozen time. Moving on. From TMS Entertainment, based on the manga, we have the 4th season of Yowa Mushi Pedal. Glory Line! Thank goodness this isn't a golfing anime, otherwise it would be called Let's Move On, shall we? Based on the manga from Studio Dean, we have Itojinji Collection, a collection of animated horror stories based on the works of Japanese artist Junji Ito. He's the one that did Spirals and that Kojima was going to work with for Silent Hills before that got axed. Before I start thinking about how depressing that is, let's move on. From 7 Arcs Pictures, based on the manga, we have... this is an old one. Basilisk. Oka Nimpocho. The story is set 10 years after Basilisk Koga Nimpocho in 1626. That is the only synopsis we are getting. Man, I remember when Basilisk existed. Never actually watched it. What do we have next? Next up, from Linden Film Studios, based on the manga, we have Killing Bites. I guess Killing Bites, but personally I think Dying Bites more. Hey, let's read the synopsis. People have been created that are human-animal hybrids, and powerful businesses bet on outcomes of their duels. College student Nomoto Yuya's casual acquaintance asks him to drive them around to pick up girls one day, which he soon finds out means by force. Oops! The girl they kidnap is an animal-human hybrid named Hitomi, who slaughters all of them except Yuya. Hitomi is a honey badger. Honey badger don't care. Which has been called the most fearless of all animals. Now, Hitomi is assigned to stay with Yuya for his protection. Oh boy, this is gonna be this season's taboo tattoo, isn't it? I'm gonna end up watching it and just... Next up, from Bridge Studios, based on the figurine set, Nanatsu no Bitoku. Series focusing on the angelic counterparts to the demons from Sin Nanatsu no Taizai, meaning that this is the 7 holy virtues. See, I told you we'd get back to the fan service-y 7 deadly sins. Oh, I'm sorry, that's 7 mortal sins. Next on the list, from Brains-based studios, based on the manga Gakuen Babysitters. After their parents are killed in a plane crash, Ryuichi and his younger brother Kotaro are taken in by the chairman, who they have never met before, of an elite academy. Ryuichi becomes the school's daycare's babysitter. So I guess they're babysitting kids at a college? Is that the academy that they mean? I'm sorry, just academy, from my experience, can be used for any number of levels of school, usually high school or above. Let's not be kidding ourselves. So that actually might be really cute. I hope it's really cute. I like cute things. Next up, based on the manga from C Station, Yuru Camp Delta. At least I think the triangle is Delta. Rin likes to go camping by herself along the lakes that provide a scenic view of Mount Fuji. Nadeshiko loves to take cycling trips by herself to places where she can see Mount Fuji. After they meet, Rin and Nadeshiko take camping trips, eat cup ramen together, and enjoy the scenery. Mostly, I imagine, of Mount Fuji. Mount Fu OG, am I right? I am being told that I am not right. Let's move on. Next, from Studio Gokumi, a new original anime, Toji no Miko. There's an evil creature called Aratama that attack people, and a group of Miko have been exorcising those creatures using swords since olden time. On olden day, on glimpse of swords. That doesn't work at all. Those who wear uniforms and swords are called Toji, who are officially called Tokubetsu Saishi Kitotai, Special Ritual Maneuver Team, in the Police Association. They are officially approved of wielding the swords by the government officials. The government has established 5 training schools consisting of junior and senior high levels for female students to attend. They spend their student lives normally and use special skills with the swords when they're doing missions to protect people. In the spring, these 5 schools are to take part in a competition. Among the girls who trained for the competition, there's a girl who's a bit more passionate than any other girl. Where would the girl with the sword aim? This feels like it should be a tie-in to... Oh boy. Let's be honest, this feels like a tie-in to a mobile game. You take part of the mobile game, which would be the Toji facing against the monsters, and you use the gacha machine to get different Tojis with special or special swords to equip them with, so that you'd have a more powerful unit. This feels like taking all the fan favorite ones and having a fight tournament in 12 episodes of it. Which I'm honestly surprised none of the mobile games have done yet. Be an easy tie-in to the mobile games would give you a reason not to explain as much of what's happening. Fighting tournaments are relatively easy to write, and you wouldn't have to rush through the plot if the fighting tournament is only 12 episodes long. Just a fun competition, have everyone's favorite characters show up, have a tease for what's going to happen next in the mobile game. That could and have a tie-in to your game so that you have special like tournament costumes or special raid ups for those characters in the mobile games. That's money. That one's free, by the way, companies that are listening. No, that's not free. Give me credit. Make me write it. Give me work. Next up we have from Project Number 9, based on the light novel Ryu no Oshigoto. The story is about a teenage boy who happens to be a shogi master. One day, a 9-year-old girl turns up at his house requesting to be taken as his disciple. From there, all kinds of wacky hijinks ensue. See, when I put in hijinks ensue, I'm doing it kind of sardonically, because I know that the setup implies hijinks ensue, but when an actual synopsis uses wacky hijinks ensue, it's a bit forced, is what I'm trying to get to. Next up, from Studio Pietro, an original manga, Sanrio Danshi. The project's premise follows Kota Hasagawa, a high school boy that loves the yellow pom-pom pudding dog. By mere coincidence, he ends up attending the same school as Yu Mizoni, a boy who likes the bunny My Melody. Yu tells Kota that there's nothing to be ashamed of for liking Sanrio's cute characters. Together, Kota, Yu, Shunsuke Yoshino, Ryo Nishimiya, and Seichiro Minamoto learn to accept their love for Sanrio characters. I'm not even kidding, people. This anime is about cute boys liking cute toys. Next up, from Statelight Studios, based on the light novel Hakata Tonkatsu Ramens. In a city known as Fukuoka, crime exists in the underworld from a seemingly peaceful surface. In the Hakata ward of the city, there are various individuals with special talents that consist of professional killers, detectives, informants, and professional revenge seekers. Furthermore, according to an urban legend, an individual known as Killer of Professional Killers has shown up in the city. You know, I wonder if they're trying to be the poor man's Durarara, since that concept has still been popular but not been played around with as much. Next up on the list, from Hood's Entertainment, based on the light novel Machen Madchen. When two girls meet, magic begins. Oh god, more lesbians! Hazuki Kagimura loves stories, an unorthodox girl who is overly imaginative. Because her relationship with her new family does not go well, the environment sends her towards the stories in which she spends her days. One day after school, Hazuki gets lost among the bookcases of the library, leading to a mysterious school where meets Shizuka Tsuchi Mikado. It is a magic school where girls called Madchen, with a accent over the A, are selected by the magic text from which the world's stories are born. Hazuki finds herself is said to be chosen by the Book of Cinderella. In order to become a true magician, Hazuki becomes friends with Shizuka and begins her new life at the school. Have to wonder what her parents think when the actual school she's supposed to go to calls in saying she hasn't been going to school. Will be awkward. Next up, from Silverlink Studio, based on the manga, Mitsuboshi Colors. The Colors are three cute little girls who hang out together and say they're protecting the peace of their city. They have fun, and they have lots of fun together, doing stuff like playing games, solving puzzles, and going to the zoo. This manga follows their largely happy daily life. One Life. Next up, from Lurche Studio, based on the manga, Hakume to Mikochi, I think. 9 centimeters tall, or 3.5 inches for us filthy gaijins. The tiny girls Hakume and Mikochi live in the forest, living in a tiny house in a tree, riding insects and birds, and making umbrellas out of leaves. These tiny girls live a tiny life, follow their tiny but lovely lives as they live their day-to-day in a fantastic world of tiny people and gods. Production IMS, based on the manga Takunomi, period. 20-year-old Michiru Amatsuki moved to Tokyo due to a change of career. She decided to live in a woman-only shared house, Stella House Haruno, with people of different age and occupation. It's always fun when there's delicious alcohol and meal. Could be cute. I hope it's cute. I like cute things. I like a specific type of cute is the thing. Next up, another A1 Pictures adaptation based on a 4-comma manga, Slow Start. Hana Ichinose is a normal 16-year-old high school student. However, there is something different about her. She enrolled in high school 1 year late. As someone born in November, I have to say, Her classmates are unaware of this, and Hana will have to work hard to catch up with everyone else. So, has she not done freshman year, but everyone's at sophomores? I don't... Next up, from C Station, based on the manga, here's another old pull, if any of you recognize it. Hakkyu Hoshin Engi, or, known in America, as Soul Hunter. When his clan is wiped out by a beautiful demon, young Taikobo finds himself in charge of the mysterious Hoshin Project. Its mission, find all immortals living in the human world and seal them away forever. But who do you trust, and whose side are you really on when you've been trained to hunt demons by a demon? Next up, a new original anime by Madhouse, Uchu Yorimo to Basho. Uchu Yorimo? It's weird. On the headline, it's Yori space Mo, but then in the synopsis, it's Yorimo. Toi Basho will center on high school girls visiting the South Pole. Chilling. Eh? Yeah, no, that was terrible. Next up, from X's and Studio Gokumi, based on the 4-comma manga, Ramen Daisuki Kozumi-san. Kozumi is a mysterious and attractive high school student, but what most people don't know about her is that she's a ramen master who's always on the lookout for great ramen restaurants. Every day she goes hunting for real-life places serving the best ramen dishes and delightfully eats the delicious noodles. The way Koizumi downs a giant bowl of ramen, more adeptly than any large man, will amaze and delight you. I'll be the judge of being amazed and delighted. This feels like it was specifically meant not for me because I'm not in Japan. Next up, from Studio Flad, based on the visual novel, Dame/Prince Anime Caravan, which seems to be about a princess who has to pick a prince to marry from 4 different warring countries. Problem is, all the princes are terrible people. From my understanding of a person who has played the visual novels, if I misunderstood, my apologies. Next up, we have, from 8-Bit, based on the web manga, Mira no Kaikata. when high school student Sora Kishiwagi finds himself staring down a mysterious oversized package sent to him by his self-proclaimed adventurer father. The last thing he expects is for it to be opened from the inside by a little mummy so small it can fit in the palm of his hand. Adorable little mummy! Next we have from Lilix, based on the web manga 25 Sai no Joshi Kose. The romance story centers around Hana Natori, an earnest, good-natured 25-year-old woman whose cousin refuses to go to high school. Hana takes her cousin's place and attends the high school. On her first day, though, Hana's ruse is discovered by her former high school classmate Okito Kanyi, who happens to be the high school's world history teacher. Oh god, this is gonna be the hentai short series of this season, isn't it? What is with the hentai shows? What is with? I want to know. Because most of them are gross. Well, gross is wrong. It's just most of them... I don't know what I'm saying. It feels weird that hentais in little 5-minute clippets are turning up on TV anime. Also, a 25-year-old pretending to be a high schooler and getting hit on by world history teacher. No, see, it's not forbidden love between a teacher and a student because the student's actually 25 and not the actual student. Next up from Toei Animation, airing in February. I bring that up because there's no synopsis on this. Hukato Precure, the next Precure series. We're getting into the area where there's not really any synopsises, so next up we have Strawberry Meets Picture Studios, GD Men, Tomo Movie Studios, Taraku Onisan from Karaction, based on the manga Mame Neko. And lastly, Inazuma Delivery Doyosha Attacken. And that's a rundown of the animes coming up this winter season. Not too many that, just from the synopsis, get me really interested. A few that I hope are cute and fun to watch. Mostly I'll probably just be watching Fate Extra and the rest of Ancient Magus Bride, which I think is 24 episodes. Again, thank you for watching, and again, I will eventually someday finish the review of Kamen Rider Decade. Probably finish up the reviews for Zyuohger's Decade and maybe Xade. Yeah, I'm also reviewing Gingaman, aren't I? But mainly I will be shifting focuses on this channel due to this being kind of soul-crushing that I've gotten so few subscribers, so few views per videos, and still making no money as I continue needing money badly. Refocus on what I can do that will actually get some attention. If I got the chance to sell out, I would. Anywho, thank you again for watching and putting up with me. And as always, stay safe.